Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
What's up, everybody, and welcome in to the Philly Sports Power Hour with Bill Colarulo. And the drama may be at an all-time high in the city of Philadelphia right now surrounding this Philadelphia Eagles team. I mean, we're sitting here February 22nd, where really things are supposed to be quiet. We haven't even hit free agency or the draft. Things are supposed to be quiet surrounding this team, and the drama couldn't be louder. So we're going to get into it. I got to talk about Derek Gunn's report from yesterday about what was going on the sidelines after Big Dom was suspended. We got to talk about Jalen Hurts' contract. A.J. Brown, is it his Twitter? Is it his X or not? What he said about the Philly media. Never a dull moment in the city of Philadelphia when we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. But we're going to get into all of that today on the Power Hour. We also got to talk about the Fly Guys back in action last night with a big win. And then, like we're joined every Thursday, we'll be joined by Mark Farzetta later on in the show and get his perspective on what's going on with this soap opera called the Philadelphia Eagles. But let's get a little roll call in the chat. We're streaming live on the JAKIB Sports Network. We're also live on Bill Colarulo Philly Sports Talk. Make sure you're subscribed everywhere. We're also streaming live here on TikTok. Make sure you're following there. Make sure you're following me on all social media, as my man Wine Niners Wine told you. Like, subscribe, and share my socials and channels. Appreciate you, Wine Niners Wine. Tessie in the house early again. Number one again, Tessie77. Appreciate you. I see William Stark flexing and stepping. Ringo Island, I've been looking for you, my brother. It has been a minute since you've been here. And I've been giving your boy Ringo some praise, but we'll talk more about that. Fanny in the house, Bry Guy, Bill Spadaro, Provolone John, Jason A-Team, Chuck Hutton, Franny, Thaddeus, Twiz, Kyle, WC, BJJ, MC, Adams Exploits, Steve Ike, even Niners all damn day in the house today. And I see people checking in on TikTok as well. What's up, J-Train? But let's jump right in because this all started because Craig Carton yesterday or Tuesday made his statements on FS1. And I know Carton now is coming out saying, what did I say? All I said was that there was some things going on there and they denied it. I didn't say anything. Well, he's sugarcoating a little bit, okay? Because what he said was insinuating that there was something really serious going on between men in that locker room. And everybody jumped to conclusions. Is somebody sleeping with somebody's wife? Is somebody doing this? All this stuff exploded. So I reached out to some people in the Eagles organization. You heard Adam Schefter on 97.5 yesterday, reached out to people in the organization. And our own Derek Gunn, my man D-Gun, reached out to people inside the Eagles organization. Now, my understanding is the things that Craig Carton was insinuating never happened. There's no affair going on or people sleeping with each other's wife or whatever rumors are now floating out there on Twitter. But what Derek Gunn said, per reports to him, per sources to him, may be just as alarming. Because if you follow me and you follow this show, you know I have defended Nick Sirianni all offseason, I was completely in favor of Nick Sirianni coming back as head coach. You know this. But if you're telling me that without Dom DeSandro standing next to Nick Sirianni on the sidelines, that Sirianni can't be controlled to not fight with his coaches and his players? Listen, you know how I feel about Nick. You know that I have said since the season ended that they should not fire Nick Sirianni because of everything he had to deal with this season. I told you, no coach has ever lost both coordinators after going to a Super Bowl and then got past the divisional round. We knew how hard it was going to be with the Super Bowl hangover. We knew Brian Johnson was in over his head as offensive coordinator. We knew Sean Desai and even Matt Patricia were in over their head as defensive coordinator. So I was giving Nick Sirianni the benefit of every doubt. But if you're telling me that Big Dom has to control Nick Sirianni on the sidelines, I have some major problems with that. Major problems. And I'm not there yet. I see people in the chat saying fire Nick Sirianni. I'm still not there. I still think he should be back as head coach. But if he truly needs Dom DeSandro to control him on the sidelines, then we got bigger issues than I thought we had. Because that, to me, is insane. Absolutely insane that you need Big Dom to control you. And I believe D-Gun's report. D-Gun doesn't make things up. If Derek Gunn tweeted it, it's the truth. And then he goes on, Derek Gunn, to also talk about how Jalen Hurts' big contract pulled him in numerous directions. This one isn't a surprise to me. This isn't the first time we heard this. If you remember Joe Santoliquito from Bleeding Green Nation, who we've had on the JAKIB Sports Network talking about his article, he talked about how some players said this big contract changed Jalen a little bit, that he was being pulled in a lot of different directions. So that doesn't surprise me. And what D-Gun's tweet said is Jalen's big contract pulled him in numerous directions on and off the field that put him in a lot of pressure, put him under a lot of pressure that he didn't handle well. That doesn't surprise me. And I'm still high on Jalen Hurts. That doesn't change my opinion of Jalen Hurts. He's a human being. He received a $250 million contract. I'm sure there were people coming at him from every single angle. Anyone he's ever known in his entire life was probably coming at him looking for some sort of handout. So I'm okay with that. Does Jalen need to be better? Yes. We've talked about that on this show. He needs to be better. He needs to be a better leader. But everything I'm hearing from the sources I reach out to inside the Eagles organization, it's always that Jalen is a really good kid. That Jalen is still very well liked. Are there things he can do better? Of course. But Jalen Hurts isn't this problem in the locker room. He's not a cancer on this team. He's not the next Carson Wentz. And if you remember the Joe Santoliquito article, and Joe Santoliquito was also the guy who wrote the article about Carson Wentz when there were cracks in that foundation, people wanted to make it clear to Santoliquito in that article that they don't think Jalen Hurts is Carson Wentz, that they are completely different people. And what was specifically said in that article was that Carson Wentz would get knocked down and blame everybody else. Jalen Hurts would get knocked down and get up by himself and not ask for help. That's the difference. They want Hurts to be a little bit more willing to ask for help, be a little bit more open with his teammates. And I think he'll get there. I think he will grow as a leader. But for me, from D-Gun's report, my bigger issue is with Nick Sirianni. I just can't believe that a head coach in the NFL, a grown man, would need someone else to control their emotions on the sidelines. And I guess if you look at the evidence, they were 10-1 with Big Dom on the sideline. They were 1-5 without him. Now, he was there for the wild card game. They got crushed by the Bucs, but maybe things were just a little bit too off the tracks at that point. But I just can't believe. My mind was blown. When I read that last night, I could not believe what I was reading, that a grown man head coach in the NFL needs Dom to control him on the sidelines. And then you have, let the drama continue, because then we have A.J. Brown, whether or not it's A.J. Brown or not. I personally believe that is A.J. Brown's X account. I think A.J. Brown is messing with everyone, saying, this is only a fan. I don't want to get A.J. Brown in trouble. I do believe that's A.J. Brown's X. But you look at what he said, now whether it's him or a fan, and I see somebody on TikTok saying, I just joined. What do you mean by control him? Well, if you missed it, just to recap for people who are just entering the show, if you missed it, Derek Gunn tweeted yesterday that sources told him that once Big Dom was suspended from the sidelines, Nick Sirianni had nobody to control his emotions during the games. And in Big Dom's absence, Sirianni had multiple arguments with players and coaches during games. So then you have A.J. Brown come out, whether it's him or not. Let's clarify with that, because he's saying it wasn't him, that it's, well, he's not saying that. The account is saying it's just a fan, but I'm not buying it. But this is what the A.J. Brown X account said. Philly media is so lame. It's literally something every day. Then the fans believe the BS. They really should start raising the price of microphones and cameras, because you people will say anything for views. I see why nobody likes us, because we don't even like us. Now, A.J. Brown's not wrong to an extent. And if you were here yesterday for the show, it's exactly what I said. It's exactly what I said, that I don't love the negativity that us in the media continuously spew, because we get more views and we get more engagement when we're being negative than when we're being positive. I said that yesterday. But in this situation, being reported from Derek Gunn's not one of those guys. Derek Gunn's not one of these media members who's going to say something like Craig Carton on FS1 just to get likes and engagement. He doesn't need it. So what Derek Gunn said has me concerned. Now, I don't disagree with A.J. Brown. I said this yesterday. I think the over-negativity is a little bit much in the city. And on TikTok, I have Gnarly Break saying, but doesn't every coach have the get-back coach? That's different, Gnarly. The get-back coach is the guy who tells the coaches and the players to not get too far onto the white, because you can get a penalty if you bump into one of the referees. You can get a penalty if you do that. This is a little bit different. They're talking about Big Dom actually having to control Nick Sirianni from arguing with his players and his coaches. That, to me, is a problem. And if you follow me, whether you follow me on social, whether you follow me here on this show, you know I'm not one of these guys that A.J. Brown is talking about. You all, my regulars, my fans in the chat, you started calling me Bill Spadaro because of how positive I usually am about this team. Because I told you, I will never be negative just for the sake of being negative. I will always tell you how I truly feel. Whether that gets me likes, engagement, I don't care. I'm going to tell you how I feel and tell you the truth. So I do agree with A.J. Brown that there are members of the Philly media who do stuff like that. That's not me. But when you look at what Derek Gunn reported, that's a problem. And I'm one of the biggest supporters of Nick Sirianni. But that is a problem. You shouldn't need a security guard like Big Dom to have to control you on the sidelines. And Big Dom's not just a security guard. He does more for that team. But as the head coach, you shouldn't need to be controlled. But we're going to be joined by Mark Farzetta shortly, and I'll get his opinion on all of this. But real quickly, let's just jump over to a team we can feel good about right now, and that's the Philadelphia Flyers. Flyers were back in action last night. After their outdoor loss to the New Jersey Devils, John Tortorella was worried that maybe this would be a trap game against the Chicago Blackhawks. They come out, they win 3-1, the Fly Guys. Sanheim, Konechny, and maybe my new favorite player on the Flyers, Garnet Hathaway, with a goal. I just love the way Hathaway plays. Worked his way into really a top 9 forward spot, playing on the third line. Guy plays hard every night, plays the right way, not afraid to drop the gloves. But last night, Flyers give up 21 shots, and they had 21 blocked shots. That's what I love about John Tortorella coach teams. They're going to block a ton of shots. They're going to sacrifice their body, and they did it last night. 21 block shots. Ersson wasn't bad in that, 21-22. And probably the save of the year last night. Ersson with the save of the year. If you saw it, 2-on-1, going right to left, just robs the guy with his glove. Big game by Ersson. So the Flyers now are 5-1-1 in their last 7. With 25 games left in the season, they have 30 wins. All of last year, they only had 31. So things are looking good for the Fly Guys. They're back in action on Saturday against the first-place Rangers. They play the Penguins on Sunday. But they're sitting in a good spot with only 25 games left. They're 7 points up on the fourth-place New Jersey Devils and New York Islanders for a playoff spot. That's what I want, man. Give me some playoff hockey in South Philadelphia this spring, and I'll be happy. We also have the Sixers back in action tonight. Your first look at Kyle Lowry in a Sixers uniform. A lot of people are excited about that. Ease your expectations a little bit. He's 38 years old. It's a good story. He's coming home finally. Should be a nice piece off the bench. But lower your expectations. And then I got gnarly breaks on there talking about the Fly Guys. Good fight last night. Sealer dropped the gloves. I didn't see what started the fight either. I'm not sure they ever actually showed it. You just see the two guys go at each other, and Sealer, man, went right at him. So love this team. They're not afraid to drop the gloves either. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined like we are every Thursday by my man, Mark Farzetta. I got to get his opinion on what the hell is going on with this Philadelphia Eagles news from D Gunn. So hit that like button for me. Hit that share button for me. We'll be right back with Mark Farzetta.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News?
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back in to the Philly Sports Power Hour with Bill Colarulo. I appreciate my Power Hour crew spending this hour with me every single day, Monday through Friday. And today, Thursday, may be the best day of the Power Hour because we're joined by the one and only Mark Farzetta. What's going on, Farzy? How you feeling today?
I believe you are accurate. Per reports, this is the best day of the Power Hour, Thursday. It's incredible. I appreciate it, man. How you been?
Well, listen, let me reach out to D-Gun because if he reports it, then it's accurate.
So, let me tell you something. There's a clubhouse poison. There's a locker room poison in the Philadelphia Eagles locker room, and it has a name. The name is Derek Gunn. Man. Good God, Gunner. You had the report earlier in the year about the offense being predictable and whatnot, and now you got this. Oh, my goodness gracious, Gunner. Now you got Dom DeSandro being the babysitter of Nick Sirianni. Oh, my goodness gracious, that Derek Gunn. Woof, woof, baby. I was texting with Gunner earlier today. I didn't refer to him as a locker room poison, but I think I will now.
Barzy, you know that I have been a major defender of Nick Sirianni. I was completely in support of bringing him back. I still don't think he should get fired. Let me preface it with that. But this is really concerning to me that he needs Big Dom to control him on the sidelines. What the hell's going on?
I just would look, it's not happening. I'm just thinking about what would be entertaining to me. And in a way, it would be wildly entertaining if this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Like if Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman were like, all right, look, we were going to cover for you by bringing in Kellen Moore, him running the offense. We're going to have a former head coach in Vic Fangio, a longtime coach in Vic Fangio coming to run the defense. And you're just going to, in name only, be the head coach of this team. And that's what we're going to agree to do. And then the story comes out with Dom DeSandro basically having to treat Nick Sirianni like a toddler on a tantrum. And then that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Well, Jeffrey Lurie was just like, all right, that's it. That does it. Now we're going to have to fire you, Nick, because we can't have you acting like a fool on the sidelines with players. And that was a very important thing with the report from Gunner, is that it was with players. So I know a lot of people might look at the, say, post-game antics of Nick Sirianni. See ya, don't hear you now. What? See ya.
You know what's bad about that, too? That was the Chiefs he did that.
What did I say?
Did you say that? I didn't know you said the Chiefs. I'm saying that was even worse as they go on to win the damn Super Bowl.
Right.
We're yelling, see you to them.
So if I didn't say, so he's walking off the field against Kansas City, and Dom DeSanto's right there with him. Dom's not controlling his emotions with that. So how specific the report is about with players is very interesting. But in the time that Dom DeSanto was there, we saw instances with the Eagles and players on the sidelines, whether that be A.J. Brown to Jalen Hurts and then Nick Sirianni being thrown in the mix, or whatever the case may be. We've seen him be animated. If he needs a babysitter to control his emotional intelligence, well, then it makes you go back to the question that I know everyone took and ran, myself included. What is your role then? If the offensive coordinator, now we know Kellen Moore is going to be in charge of the offense, and Vic Fangio is going to be in charge of the defense, what is your role? What is it you say you do here? And if he's not putting the ship back on track, if he's not righting the ship in the season, when everything is bursting into flames as the year winds down, when you get blown out by the 49ers and you can't offensively get into the end zone against the Dallas Cowboys, and you turn over the ball repeatedly against the Seattle Seahawks, squeak by the Giants in one game, lose to Jonathan Gannon in the second last game of the season, and then get beat by the Giants and then get bounced out of the playoffs in the first round, then what is it you do here? If game planning wasn't it, if play calling certainly wasn't it, if getting the team focused wasn't it, and being emotionally intelligent wasn't it, what is it you say you do here, Nick Sirianni?
I'll tell you, they're making it really hard on me because I have been defending this guy since the season ended, because you know what my position was, that I didn't think it was fair what we had asked Sirianni to do this year. No coach went to a Super Bowl, lost both coordinators, and got past the divisional round. There was a lot of things he was dealing with. It was an uphill battle. Brian Johnson was inexperienced. Sean Desai was inexperienced. They really lacked personnel on defense. So that's still why I give him the benefit of the doubt. But this just has me concerned. And I see some people in the chat saying, hey, nobody said he was babysitting. It just says that he's a calming influence. Like, he's a calming influence. My concern with that is a grown man, head coach of the NFL, he's supposed to be the leader of men. He's supposed to be the one that knows when to calm things down or ramp things up or be aggressive or be stoic. He's the one that's supposed to do this. And when you say, what is it that you do here? What I've always preached, Farzi, is, well, he's the CEO coach. He's great. He's going to help build the culture. He's going to keep things right on the sidelines. Well, it sounds like now Big Dom's the CEO.
That's the thing.
Dude,
I love emotion. I love emotion. But you have to know how to harness emotion. You have to know how to get the absolute best out of your players. And that's one of the things that Nick Sirianni is supposed to be so great at. You didn't see any of that. And look, players took up for him at the end of the season. Locker room clean out day, players took up for him. No, he hasn't lost the team, blah, blah. All right, fine. Then how come he wasn't able to help pull you guys out of the muck, so to speak, and actually maybe win a playoff game? You know, that the whole season's different if you at least win a playoff game. If you, all right, you know what, the end of the season sucked and we couldn't do anything with it, but at least win a game, all right, then maybe it's a different story. But they were so wildly off course. And look, I saw our man Big Sills there, Dan Celio, put this out yesterday. Like, Nick Sirianni is not qualified to be an NFL head coach. And here's what I'll say to that. There are 32 teams in the NFL. The Eagles hire what seems to be different than anybody. The Eagles want to hire somebody, not that's going to be, that CEO even, where he's really in charge, even if he delegates play calling on both sides of the football. They're not hiring that guy. The number one thing on the job application form is, will you play ball with Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman? And that seems to be the best thing that Nick Sirianni has done recently is play ball with his higher-ups. And that's why he is at least qualified to be the Eagles NFL head coach.
I wish I could argue with you today, man. I really do.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Paulie Pom-Poms? Huh?
I am.
Yes,
I
bud?
know. Bill Spadaro in the house
Bill
today. I mean, I did reach out to people to see, hey, is that an accurate report? And not that I don't trust Gunner, because Gunner's always accurate. And they confirmed the same thing, saying, yeah, Big Dom helps control Sirianni. And what I also heard was, it was a major distraction when Big Dom was suspended from the sidelines. Now, I don't know if those run hand in hand, but look, wow. I'm going to ask you, let's just move on from this, because I can't argue with you. You win. Let's move on.
You can see I rest my case.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I'm just, Your Honor, I concede. But let's talk about, outside of Nick Sirianni and Big Dom, what do you see as the biggest need or needs for this Philadelphia Eagles team as we now enter the offseason to hopefully contend again next year?
Okay. What they need, and I also think is plausible, because, I mean, I think they need a running back. They will definitely get a running back. I think in the draft, I don't think it's going to be any big splash name, unfortunately, but they're going to get another.
He froze on me. You there, Farzy? Uh-oh. We lost Farzy. We lost Farzy today. He was about to say they're going to get another I'm thinking he's going to say corner. Hopefully we can get Farzy back later on today. But yeah, listen, I see you people in the chat, and I see some people coming after me saying, I was a big supporter of Sirianni, and I was, and I still kind of am. Okay, I'm going to say kind of today because I'm just upset with this news, but I still think that this could have been an outlier season. There was a lot going on. I'm making excuses for him. But let's get Farzy back on, because he was about to say he needs a corner. That's all we heard.
Corner. I don't know what happened, that the Eagles are tapping my Wi-Fi. But
they're trying to shut us down. That's what they're doing.
Can't keep me down.
Blame Sills. It's Sills' fault.
Here's what I'm looking at. They need a corner, and I also think it's plausible. And I think they have to go in the direction of linebacker. Yeah. I know they love Nakobe Dean. I have confidence in Nakobe Dean. If he stays healthy, will be a good linebacker in the NFL. But the biggest question is whether or not he will stay healthy. And I know Howie Roseman was talking at length about how much he likes Nakobe Dean. They got confidence in Nakobe Dean. Great. You still need more. You still need depth. And you're going to have to look into the safety position to get depth there too. We don't know if Sidney Brown's going to be ready. We don't know if Sidney Brown is even ready to play the safety position at the NFL on a regular basis. As much as I love the guy, you need proven talent right now. You need proven talent right now. So I think they did fill two of the biggest needs, which was an experienced offensive play caller, very experienced, an experienced defensive coordinator, extremely experienced, and those two guys with big track records. But as far as on the field, I think they're looking at corner. I am not ruling out the possibility of acquiring Patrick Surtain in the offseason. I know the asking price is going to be high, but I think the Eagles will be able to get him here if they really want to make that happen. And I think in the linebacker situation, you're probably going to have to go into free agency. You might have to go back into the draft, but I think they're going to have to get a guy that has that experience to play linebacker in the NFL. You need proven commodities at this point. The draft isn't going to cure it all, but I think those are the positions of need that the Eagles are most need, and also are most likely going to go in that direction. I think those are the most plausible spots. Running back, I think they feel like Kenny Gainwell's fine, and they'll draft his future replacement and his backup this year.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I said this either yesterday or the day before. The days are running together on the show. That as much as I would like to see them draft a linebacker, I still want to see them do that. You have to bring in a proven veteran. We can't go into this season with Nakobe Dean, who's a question mark. Whatever rookie you draft, which will be a question mark. I don't care where you draft him. He's a rookie. And then what? Ben Van Sumeren, another question mark. So I think they have to do something they haven't done in a while, which is go out and maybe spend some big money on a linebacker. And I know there's some names out there. Anthony Krobach says, hey, he wants Azeez Al-Shahir as their number one linebacker. There's some other guys. Frankie Lavue's available. Patrick Queen, Jordan Brooks from Seattle. So there are guys that they could get. It's just whether or not Howie Roseman changes his philosophy and says, hey, I'm going to go pay for a guy, because we've seen it. What do they like to do? They like to sign 1-year guys, short-term contracts for aging veterans or, guys who are in that middle of the pack. Now, you mentioned corner. I look at the defense and really, I think there's 4 needs. I think you have linebacker, corner, safety, and edge rusher. Now, edge rusher, you may need a star if you trade away Reddick, but even if you don't, you need depth. But I want to talk about the secondary, because for me, I think you need a safety more than you need a corner. So if you could only get one, which one you going with? You taking the corner or you going with the safety?
Okay, so I'm taking the safety, but I think where the middle road is here with the Philadelphia Eagles is that if corner is still a need, they are going to get a corner. I know that they like Keely Ringo and what they saw from him. We saw some flashes from Eli Ricks, especially in that Miami Dolphins game. But for me, I think they're going to go that direction of corner way before they go before the position of safety.
Don't forget, you have Isaiah Rodgers coming back from the suspension list, who was a really good player in Indianapolis before he got suspended. You have Zach McPherson, who I know a lot of people in the Eagles organization were high on Zach coming into this past year, and he blows out his Achilles in training camp. So I look at that cornerback position as maybe not being as bad as some people think it is, because look, Slay, say what you will, we've had our issues with him. He's still playing at a decent level.
Yeah.
So you have Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, Zach McPherson, Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, and then the question is, what do they do with James Bradbury and Avonte Maddox? I think Bradbury may be gone because of his play. Avonte Maddox needs to renegotiate his deal. His cap hit's just too high. But that's not a bad corner group. So for me, I would prefer safety, but we'll see what they end up doing.
Yeah, I think the thing that's going to change for them is proven commodity. They can't trust Bradbury, and everybody else still has to prove themselves. I mean, of those guys that you mentioned in terms of guys being a proven commodity at the nickel spot, I mean, obviously that's Avonte Maddox, but can he stay healthy?
Yeah.
He's another one on their defense in the younger variety that they look at.
13 games in 2 years, Avonte Maddox.
Yeah, exactly. So proven commodity is what they're going to be looking at.
So we talked about the defense. Let's jump over to the offense. You mentioned running back. What other things you think they need to do on that offense? Obviously, a big question mark is, well, does Kelsey come back or not? But what would you like to see them do on the offensive side of the ball?
Well, I'd like to see them use that running back in that way where a running back has the title of running back. I'd like to see a running back run the football, just like a lot of Eagles fans have been screaming throughout the years. And I'm not one to yell and scream about run-to-pass ratio all the time. I think that sometimes it gets a little overblown. But I think you look at this year and how much they had to rely on Jalen Hurts to run the football, how much they had to rely on the tush-push. And that certainly skews their numbers when it comes to rush attempts on the season. But actually use the running backs. And if you're not going to run the football, and Kellen Moore has been known to kind of get away from the running game as well, maybe not even get there in the first place before he even gets away from it, but throw the ball to the running backs. And I would love to see DeAndre Swift come back here, but if I'm making a prediction, DeAndre Swift is not coming back to Philadelphia.
I agree with you.
He will be elsewhere. But if they bring in someone that is of a similar skill set, utilize the skill set. I'm going to go ahead and use a phrase that they used for Jalen Hurts before in the season. It ended up being a bit of a lie, but it was true in terms of you embracing the uniqueness of Jalen Hurts' game. Whatever running back they do bring in, if they bring in someone like DeAndre Swift, embrace the uniqueness of his game, his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, his ability to run a screen, his ability to run a wheel route, for crying out loud. Not every screen needs to be a bubble screen to a wide receiver or to a tight end. You could throw to a running back. Those are a couple of things that I want to say.
Let's not bring that up. We still have PTSD.
Right. Yeah. DeAndre Swift. Devontae Smith blocking on a bubble screen
for Dallas Goedert. That was the best. You have Dallas Goedert, who's a big human being, and you have Devontae Smith. So instead of having Dallas Goedert block for Devontae on the bubble screen, you flip it. We're going to trick him. We're going to trick him, Farzy. So
he thinks about blocking. All right,
I'm just realizing something in the chat. So, they've started calling me Bill Spadaro, some people here. And one of our avid viewers here changed his name. I didn't realize until just now that that's also my massive nostrils in the picture. Touche, Bill Spadaro on YouTube. I didn't even realize it until I just saw it. And I think what he does, I'm starting to pick up on this on our fan here, Bill Spadaro. He just re-quotes things that I say, and he's overly positive. But I do agree with this. I do think that the offense will be better this season now that Brian Johnson is gone and under Kellen Moore. But
yeah, I agree with that entirely. And look, the Eagles, I said this before, but I might have said this with you, but I think the Eagles just had the cockiest offseason a year ago. Like overly arrogant is the word I'll use. Oh, Brian Johnson, you have no play calling, but you know our quarterback? Well, it's going to be hard to fail with this offense, so go get him, fella. Yeah. And ended up blowing up in their faces at the end of the season once everybody figured out what the hell they were doing.
Yeah, and there's another thing I want to see them add on that offense, in addition to maybe a running back if DeAndre Swift leaves. I want a backup tight end that's a little bit better than what they have right now. Dallas Goedert hasn't stayed healthy the last couple of years. So I need another – look, Jack Stoll, he can block. He can't catch. Grant Calcaterra, he can catch. He can't block. I want a dual-threat tight end so you can run that 12 personnel. You could put 2 tight ends on the field and maybe make the defense guess, well, what are they doing here? And something we've been screaming about, and I think you were too, even last year, we need to upgrade the wide receiver 3. Quez Watkins is a free agent, thank God. Olamide Zaccheaus is a free agent as well. We need a better third option on this offense, and I don't think you have to break the bank for that. And this is why I'm of the belief, hey, let Kelsey retire because you could take that money. Yeah, you're going to have a little bit of a drop-off, and people got mad that I say a little bit. You'll have a big drop-off from Cam Jurgens at center, but now you're going to have a better second tight end. You're going to have a better wide receiver 3. So that's kind of what I want to see.
Look, there's no doubt if Jason Kelsey doesn't come back, he'll be missed in the middle of the offensive line, but we all know that money will be spread out rather well, and we know that Howie knows how to spread that money out. When you talk about a third wide receiver, I think that would be something that would be a huge luxury for the Eagles, considering their 1 and 2 guys are pretty damn good. But when you talk about a tight end, maybe we're getting closer and closer. I mean, we are getting closer and closer, but maybe we're closer than we think to needing that Zach Ertz to Brent Selleck, that Dallas Goedert to Zach Ertz. Maybe now we're going to be looking for somebody else, or the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be looking for somebody else to kind of pick up the slack when it comes to a receiving tight end. One that, yeah, sure, can block, can use most of their time when they're playing, blocking for their quarterback, their run game, the passing game, whatever the case may be, but also somebody who will be a threat to be able to catch that ball downfield a little bit. So maybe we are looking for someone to, I don't know, start looking past Dallas Goedert a little bit.
All right. Something else I have to talk to you about. So I tweeted out either Monday or Tuesday my NFC quarterback rankings, okay? Not NFL, NFC. And it's still going crazy. I mean, I'm still getting notifications on my phone from people agreeing or disagreeing or calling me a clown and all this. So I put in my rankings Jalen Hurts as the number 1 quarterback in the NFC, not the NFL. Let's make sure we distinguish that.
Right.
Where do you rank Jalen Hurts in the NFC as a quarterback right now, knowing things could change because there's going to be some free agent acquisitions and things like that? Mm-hmm. But where do you rank Jalen Hurts right now? I'm looking for my list here so I could give you the full
No, I appreciate it. Look, where I rank him is with potential. And I look at this year, and I acknowledge this year was an awful step back. I don't agree with someone like Chris Sims, who wants to talk about him as if he's the most overrated player in the NFL, overrated quarterback in the NFL. I can't look at it like that. I don't know how you overrate someone who just a year ago was second in the MVP voting. That's not rank. That's not overrating. That's appropriately rating.
Yeah.
But if me saying he's going to have a bounce back year and being very confident that he's going to put his name back in the MVP race, which, by the way, before the 49ers game this year, he was the favorite.
He was the favorite.
Exactly. So it's not that far-fetched to think that he was still the best in the NFC. If I'm going with guys that I would take to be my quarterback again next year, I'm absolutely taking Jalen Hurts over Dak Prescott. But when it comes to based off this year, I can understand why somebody would want Dak Prescott ahead of Jalen Hurts, but Dak Prescott, simple as this, doesn't win. Jalen Hurts already has more playoff wins than Dak Prescott. Like, what are we even talking about here? But if I understand, coming off of this year It ain't the prettiest thing. Coming off the way the season ended, it ain't the prettiest thing.
Yeah, and I see in the chat here, Jameson Smith, and I had some people coming at me saying that Jordan Love should be number 1. And my thoughts on that is I had Jordan Love as number 3 in the NFC right now. And the reason why is the same argument that people make about Jalen Hurts is, oh, he was only good for 1 season. Jordan Love was only good for about half a season. He didn't start playing well until there was about 7 or 8 games left in the year. So although I agree that Jordan Love could make that leap, if we can't say that Jalen Hurts is as good as he was because of 1 season, how can we say that about Jordan Love after really half a year?
And Jordan Love was great. And I was very impressed by what I saw from him. Very impressed with the overall game plan the Packers had against against the Cowboys in the playoffs. All that was great. We all love seeing the Cowboys lose. But I'm not buying stock in Jordan Love over Jalen Hurts at this point.
All right. So I asked you about quarterbacks. Right now, as we sit here, before free agency, before the draft, which teams in the NFC have you most concerned for 2024?
It's still, look, the playoff Cowboys is a totally different thing than regular season Cowboys. Regular season Cowboys are always going to be a thorn in the Eagles' side. As it sucks to say that, but it's the absolute truth. So they still concern me. The Packers, again, looking at Jordan Love, I don't see him getting worse, but I also don't see him all of a sudden entering the MVP race like Jalen Hurts did a year ago. So I am concerned with the Packers that they could be on the upswing. Of course, you look at the San Francisco 49ers and you understand what they are defensively and offensively. They're not going to get worse either. Kyle Shanahan during the regular season and in the playoffs is going to be great. And if they make it back to a Super Bowl again, that's when he'll choke again. I don't know if I made it with you or somebody else, but in comparison to Kyle Shanahan and Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan's probably going to have to go somewhere else to be a head coach and win a Super Bowl. He's going to have to correct the mistakes that he made in his first NFL head coaching job and make those corrections somewhere else. But as of right now, I look at the Cowboys, I look at the 49ers, and I do look at the Packers as teams that are big threats to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. I now want to try to play a game, and forgive me because I got to make sure I could do this technically, but we're going to play a game if I could get this up here on the screen. So bear with me real quick.
Are you about to play music? What's going on here?
I want to see if I can play this game for us. Hold on.
The game is called Can Bill Find the Soundbite?
So here we go. So we're going to play Find the Farzy right now.
Okay, I like this. This is great.
I was watching the Flyers game last night.
Okay.
And there's a player on the Chicago Blackhawks, and I'm like, is that Farzy?
Is that Foligno? That's not Foligno.
It is. It's Nick Foligno.
Is it Nick Foligno? Okay, yeah, I thought so. Wow.
Look at this. Which one is the real Mark Farzetta?
That's a great point. That's a great question. Did I tell you what Jim Jackson always texts me? Is this how we got on this subject? Hold on. No, put that back up. I got to take a picture for
all right, we'll add it.
For JJ. Here we go.
Here we go. Find the Farzy.
So Jim Jackson.
Who else do you look like? Because we'll have to do this every week. We'll have to keep putting people up on the screen.
Jeez.
Nobody's ever seen
Eitan
Mark
Shander,
Farzetta, Nick Sirianni, and Nick Foligno in the same room.
Sean Brace. We both worked together at the Philadelphia Wings on game day presentations. So that's they keep on teasing us that they're just going to switch our credentials and not tell us, which I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even notice. But Jim Jackson, did I talk about this with you before, Bill?
You told me the woman who thought you were Dave Spadaro, I think. You told me that story.
Yeah, at Dick's Sporting Goods. Yeah. So Jim Jackson and I are friends and love that guy. And he will text me every once in a while. Like he texted me the other day, Nick Foligno. I think it was when he signed with the Blackhawks. He was like, hey, by the way, congratulations on your contract. And I knew right away what he was talking about. And so I texted him back in typical hockey jargon. You know, I do whatever I can for the organization. Thanks, JJ. Yeah. Thanks,
so
JJ.
I'm not the only one who sees the resemblance between you and Nick Foligno.
No. Nick Foligno, Nick Sirianni, Sean Brace, Eitan Shander. Like those are the even more than my own. You don't
Sean
see the
Brace? No. I don't see the
because I got a fat face. I got a fat face. I got a big old fat face.
Speaking of fat faces, Keith Saunders says you look like Jay Glazer. He's got a pretty big face.
You must hate Jay Glazer.
Man, oh man. But that is Mark Farzetta, my man. I couldn't disagree with him a lot today, unfortunately, because
How about that?
Nick Sirianni. But what's going on, my brother? I don't get to see you anymore. We used to see each other every week.
Oh,
down at the Ocean Casino. Now we don't get to see each other anymore. What's good with you?
Let me tell you, I didn't think this would happen when I became a father and a homeowner and all that stuff. But I get like so excited for trash day, like I don't know, I just love that. And then in the house we moved into a year ago, we're really finally starting to unpack a lot of stuff that just was in boxes that we didn't need immediately. And we're going to finish our basement, so I'm excited about that. And I have
down
to
there for your studio going down there.
No, I'm actually going to convert the garage into a studio, which I'm looking forward to. Yeah, a hidden door through our dining room into the studio.
Nice,
because that won't be creepy. But anyway, we have, speaking of creepy, we have this crawl space, and we hadn't utilized the crawl space. So I literally built a casing for this water pipe that goes right through the crawl space, and now I can use the whole thing for storage. So I've been loading that up. That's what I've been up to, Bill. Isn't that exciting?
We're getting old, dude, that you're excited about storage.
Man. Oh, wait, what? All this week, I was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was filming brand new episodes of Greatest Sports Legends Then and Now. Greg Murphy, everyone knows and loves Greg Murph from the Phils. Wes Hall from Monumental Sports in D.C. Rotfeld Productions, Greatest Sports Legends Then and Now. Check your local listings. It's nationally syndicated. I think it's in 81 markets across America. And we just filmed 13 new episodes. I believe it's season 4. So it's been a busy week, my friend. Busy week.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you making time for us here on the Power Hour, Farzy. It's always good to see your face.
I got to get in the CrossFit
last night. I got to see your face last night watching the Blackhawks. I got to see your face with Sirianni all over Twitter. So it works.
There we go. All right, I got to get my cross space. I'll see you.
I'll see you, my man. Be good. Mark Farzetta, always fun when he joins the Power Hour. But yeah, started a new game today. Find the Farzy. So many people look like Mark Farzetta, or Mark Farzetta looks like so many people. However you want to say it. But let's jump in like we end every Philly sports Power Hour with a little Today in Sports History. Today's February 22nd. And I want to see who in the chat knows what happened today. Because if you are a sports fan, if you call yourselves a sports fan, you should know what happened on February 22nd. And I'll give you some clues in a second. But any sports fan should know what today is the anniversary of. So I'm going to give you a second in the chat. I'll start giving you some clues. So I'll give you how long ago it happened. We're going 44 years ago. So February 22nd, 1980. If you are a sports fan and you are an American, you should know what happened February 22nd, 1980. Come on, I can't give you any better clues than that. You're an American who likes sports. February 22nd, 1980. Boom. Bry Guy M68. Do you believe in miracles? One of Al Michaels' greatest calls of all time. And Brian Lippincott, not the day they won the gold medal. It was the day they beat the Soviet Union. They still had to go on to beat, forget who they even played. I always forget who they played in the gold medal game. But it was 44 years ago today that the miracle on ice happened. USA Ice Hockey beats the Soviet Union 4-3 in Lake Placid, New York, in one of the biggest upsets in Olympic history. And where we have the famous line from Al Michaels, do you believe in miracles? So I wasn't alive yet to watch it, but being an ice hockey player, I grew up playing ice hockey. It's all we heard about. And my grandfather in his garage had a big poster of the 1980 USA ice hockey team up on the wall. So I grew up looking at that almost every single day. And we used to play hockey in the garage sometimes. So February 22nd, 1980, 44 years ago, one of the greatest days in USA Olympic history. We also have Hollywood Hogan talking about Rocky beating Ivan Drago. Rocky did beat Ivan Drago. End of Rocky IV. And not only does Rocky beat Ivan Drago, he gets on the mic and he says, if I can change and you can change, everybody can change. So Rocky turned into a politician, into an international influencer, Rocky Balboa. You thought he was just a boxer from South Philadelphia. But listen, I appreciate everybody being here. We'll be back here tomorrow on the Philly Sports Power Hour like we are every Friday. Big game tonight for the Sixers. We'll see what they can do against the New York Knicks. Hopefully they can come back from the All-Star break on the right foot and get in the winning column and keep things afloat with still, fingers crossed, the hopes of Joel Embiid coming back. But we'll talk about that all tomorrow on the show. We'll see if any other bombs get dropped today from the media with regard to these Philadelphia Eagles. Let's hope we have a nice, quiet afternoon. I don't need any more Eagles drama. But appreciate all of you. Hit that like button for me. Hit that share button for me. Make sure you're following me everywhere. And as always, go Birds.
Go for the polls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.